Hello and welcome back to Tarot for Self Love. My name's Jess, and if you've been on this journey with me this far, I hope you are seeing some improvement in your self love practice and little tiny things starting to work out for you or move themselves out of your life. There's always going to be a place of falling apart and then falling together. And that's normal. That is your tower moment. That is your wheel of fortune. That is your devil. That's all of that. So if things are falling apart right now, there is a reason for it. And I know that might be hard to hear. And it might sound trite that everything happens for a reason, but it truly, truly, truly does. And if you trust in that and trust that everything is happening for your highest good, then you can't go wrong. You make moves in the ways that excite you and bring you joy, and then everything flows from that. So I just wanted to let you know that before we get started on class 4, we're at the halfway point. You've come to the halfway point, and you might start seeing things change for you. And I just want to give you this kind of uh, precursor or maybe some helpful guidance that will take you further on this journey. So let's talk about class 4. So class 4 is going to be digging into things like color theory, more digging in on reversals that we talked about in the last class, and how you can use all these things to your advantage. So let's talk about color theory. So if you have any kind of artistic background, you probably recognize a lot of this. So for those who don't, colors relate to not only a specific chakra, but also different feelings and different actions. So let's start with like blues and purples. So blues and purples are going to talk about protection, communication, honesty, calm, inner strength, responsibility. Think like calm waters, and you balance and nurture and acceptance. That's kind of the cool colors of the wheel. So you're talking going into darker greens, all shades of blue and purple, and anything that resembles water is going to be, it should be a trigger for you to think protection, balance, nature, gentle, right? And then anything on the warm side of the spectrum, reds, oranges, yellows, and going into kind of those brighter greens, the more vivid, like lime and things like that. That's moving into trusting yourself, um, keeping the stamina up, keeping your passion, moving fast, using your creativity, and staying positive and just keeping in the vibe of pleasure and joy. So you can look at this in two ways. So you can look at this as warm and cool colors, calm um, and like calm and inner strength and speed and passion and self trust on the other side. Or you can look at this as opposing colors. So these are called complementary colors. And this is like blue and orange, or purple and yellow, or red and green. And what they do, they're opposites on the color wheel. And they can tell you a lot about what you're doing well in life, what you're doing well, and what you're lacking in, and where you could improve. So if you see something in the reversal and it's very red in the reversal, you're going to look to what that green means, which is balance and nature and acceptance. So maybe instead of that card telling you that you need to move forward and be passionate and keep moving forward in that masculine energy, but if it's in the reversal, you're going to think to the feminine energy of these cool colors, and maybe to flip that card around in your next reading, you need to infuse more balance and acceptance and nature in your life. So I hope that makes sense. Feel free, as always, to drop any questions or comments or messages into the chat within the school, within the course page, and I will get back to you pretty quickly. So upright and reverse, and we talked about this a little in the last class, but this is like traditional way of reading upright and reverse. So upright, you're going to go with the traditional meanings. You're going to go with your current movements. And usually this gives you some clarity. This gives you the insight on what your next step should be. When you see cards in the reverse, and like I said, you can choose whether you want to read reverse or not. It's really going to be the vibe of the deck. I have some decks that I don't read reverse and they never want to be read reverse. And then I have some decks that the reverse is the strongest meaning in that layout. So when you see a reverse, you choose whether you want to read it based on the deck and your attachment to it. But this is a cause for pause. This is a cause for reflection. This is a warning about, going back and learning the lessons from the previous card. And so like for the sun, for the example, if you were seeing the sun in reverse, the card before that is the moon. So you would want to go back and study the energy of the moon card to be able to get a stronger foundation to move forward into the sun. And it's really cool because there are times where you'll read something in the reverse and then you take those lessons and put them into motion. So like sun and moon, the moon is shadow work. So if you were to see the moon in reverse, you would know that you or the person you're reading for needs to amplify their shadow work to be able to realize the sun. And then maybe you read them 6 months later, or you reread yourself 6 months later, and you've been doing all this shadow work. It's very likely that you'll see the sun come up as upright. And that means that you were on the right path. You were doing what you need to do to move forward and be successful in this life. So pay attention to upright and reverse, whether your deck calls for it or not, because it can tell you a lot about your reading and what you need to work on for self-love. So here are some basic 3-card spreads. This is kind of what anyone who's reading tarot would start with. So you shuffle, you open the deck, you open the energy and the connection, you channel in, you ground, and you shuffle out 3 cards. And you can shuffle any way that feels good for you. Some people shuffle like a deck of cards. Some people, do like the quick shuffle in your hand and then see what pops out. Either way is acceptable. Whatever works for you and your deck. And like I have sometimes I'll fire shuffle where that's what I call like the fast shuffle, where cards pop out. And sometimes I want more controlled energy, so I will shuffle like a deck of cards and, take the top 3 cards or the top and the bottom, whatever my intuition is telling me that day. So, and then you can use these 3 cards to pretty much tell you anything you want to know. Past, present, future, situation, action, outcome, your path, your potential, your relationship and your partner, and physical self, higher self, and how to align, how to close that gap between your physical self and your higher self. And this is really super basic. This will help you start learning how the cards interact with each other when you can relate it to something that's currently going on in your life. I like to use situation, action, outcome for something that I already know is happening. Say like you want to know something about your work situation and what you need to do, what actions do you need to take in your work life, and what the outcome needs to be. This is a good way to build trust with your cards is to use a spread that you generally know at least two or three. You're really confident in like two or three of the, or at least two of the cards. Um, and this will help you learn to trust yourself and your deck, because you can say, oh, yep, that tracks, or that resonates, or wait a second, I don't know what this is. Like, let's dig deeper. And you can always add clarity cards. You just draw from the top of the deck, or you shuffle, or whatever. So you see a lot of readers on like TikTok and social media, and everyone shuffles different, and that's okay. There's no one right way to read tarot. Um, tarot used to be a very closed practice, um, and was reserved for people of the court, people of like gypsy descent. There's certain decks out there for that gypsies use. There's tarot. I mean, there's tarot for everything right now, but the traditional tarot started actually as a playing card game among the nobles, and then it started moving into divination. Divination has gone back since the beginning of time. There's always been like the witch doctor, the medicine woman, Jesus Christ, all of these important people to the community. They have used divination, and that could be throwing bones, it could be reading tarot, it could be astrology, it could be anything. You can divine from the way things fall on the ground. It's once you tap into your intuition, the possibilities are endless as to what you want to use as your inspiration. But the main thing here with tarot is setting your intention. So while you're shuffling, you need to focus on whatever 1, 2, 3 you're working on: past, present, future, situation, action, outcome. It doesn't matter, but you need to focus on what your intention is for this deck. And that's how you get your meaning. That's how you get your answers and where you need to go next. So a very large spread, but also one of the most basic spreads for any person reading tarot to learn, is called the Celtic Cross. This is something that traditional tarot teachers teach from the get-go, because it is such a standard. And a lot of times when you get a reading, like if you were to go into a shop and get a reading, this is the spread that a lot of tarot readers would use. It's been going forever. So you have card 1, which is under card 2, and that's the present. That's you right now. Card 2, which is laying over card 1, is a challenge you're facing. So this is what's holding you back, what's limiting your access to living your favorite life. And then card 3 is about the past, 4 is about the future, 5 is about above, like your potential, and 6 is below, which is like your shadow self. 7 is advice. 8 is external influences, whether they're helping you, hurting you, where that needs to shift. 9 is hopes and fears. So this is like you're hopeful for the future, but you also have a fear of success, like that kind of energy. And then 10 is the outcome. So if you live your life exactly like you're going right now, this is pretty much a snapshot of your life right this second. So if you live your life exactly like you do now, you don't change anything, this is going to be your outcome. But then you revert back to 6, your shadow self, 5, your favorite self, your above, and 7, the advice. And you get clarity around those 3 cards specifically, and that will show you how to move forward in the best way. So this is, like I said, this is a basic spread that a lot of readers use. So it's always good to know it and kind of have it in your back pocket. I typically don't use this spread because I have developed spreads that work for me when I'm reading for myself and reading for other people. But I still learned this. This is still the basic spread that I will revert to um, if I need something, if I just need to like get foundation back. So your homework is going to continue from class 1, 2, and 3, body scanning, shielding, grounding, automatic writing for the major and minor arcana. And then you're going to add 3 card pulls, try 1 spread a day. And then the Celtic Cross, I want you to try it at least 1 time. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't even have to be good. But I want you to get the feel for looking at and interpreting a larger spread like that. So basically, what you're going to do when you're going to shuffle with intention, you're going to lay out the cards however you see fit in that spread. And then you're going to interpret the cards. And you can do this one by one. You can interpret the cards one by one, and that will help you kind of see the puzzles to the puzzle pieces. And then you kind of can look at the whole. You can back up and look at the whole and see what you are, see what connects. So there's your homework, and I'm available for messages, questions, concerns, wins. Like, share your successes with me too. Like, if this is really resonating and it's really helping, and you feel like you've gotten some growth in your self-love, I want to hear that. I want to help you celebrate your wins. So please, 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 whether you send me an email, hit me up on social media, or drop it in the course, like, that's what brings me so much joy, is knowing that these things that I'm so passionate about, I'm helping other people win with them too. So the image I found for this class is you can't find your voice if you don't use it. So this is, especially if you're struggling with self-love, a lot of it comes from having your voice stifled, whether that's from your childhood, your teen years, your early relationship years, if you've been in difficult relationships where you've lost your voice, or your voice has been suppressed in any way, shape, or form, you have to use it. It's like a use it or lose it thing in a way. So you have to use your voice. And the more you use your voice, the more comfortable you get with using your voice. And the more you trust your voice and use it, the deeper your self-love goes, because it moves into the self-acceptance. So, and being okay with saying, this is my opinion, this is the way I think, this is what I suggest, this is what I feel, any of those I statements. Or if you want to use your voice to talk about a topic, we have to use our voices more, because that's the way that they try to silence us, is by restricting our voices, our throat chakras. So yeah, use your voice. Use your voice as much as possible, and see where that can change for you. All right, my dear, we are at the end of class 4. Go ahead and do your homework over the next few days. Definitely reach out, and I will see you in class 5. Love you.